First of all, I'd like to convey Thailand's solidarity and support for the government of Chile during this difficult time. We do certainly hope to see the peaceful resolution at the earliest opportunity. Moreover, I'd
Kun
like
Paravut,
to
if
commend the
you have to
government
go back
of
to
the
the next session of the UN conference on climate change to report on how Thailand has lived up to the promises you made at the last session, of course, I am sure you remember what the promise you made, right?
A lot, a lot.
For example, I mean, to introduce Thailand's first piece of legislation on climate change, long-term strategies to fight the greenhouse effect, right? And dealing with all these pollutions that have effect on the greenhouse effect. So, what would your report be to the next session?
I was in Madrid in December 2019. It's been about over a year now. If I can go back, I will be able to, with honor and pride, and say that in the past year and a half, almost 2 years, the Thai government has been working so hard and tirelessly to fulfill our promise, and we have fulfilled our promises, be it to reduce the amount of PM 2.5. Well, of course, some people might disagree, having heard I said that. They would say, for example, up north, they still feel the tremendous amount of smog and the PM 2.5, but there are various reasons. Sometimes it's a transboundary, but the hotspots in Thailand this year alone, compared like year on year, we are 40% less than what we had last year. So the government has succeeded in implementing various policies. We have also talking about introducing the EV into Thailand. Now, for example, yesterday, the government has announced that we are going to stop selling the internal combustion engine vehicles in 2035. So we are moving towards the zero carbon in Thailand. We have fulfilled our promise for the NDC, the nationally determined contribution, and now we are moving to the second phase of the NDC. We are about to introduce the first ever Climate Change Act. Now we almost finished drafting it. We will be presenting it to the Parliament very soon. So we have fulfilled our promises that we made not to the Thai people, but to the world. So if I can go back and actually tell them again what we have done, I have no hesitation at all, because the Prime Minister as well as the Deputy Prime Minister has placed tremendous emphasis on this ministry, and we all at the ministry have been working round the clock to fulfill our promises.
Probably in the near future you will have so many more opportunities to address to international event in terms of policy of Thailand, especially in terms of climate change. And with the US policy coming back to endorse Paris Agreement again, what do you think pressure that Thailand will be facing in terms of climate change policy?
Well, everyone sees that the whole world is moving towards the readiness to combat the climate change, be it to reduce the world's temperature by 1.5 degrees or 2 degrees. Thailand, very soon, in the very, very near future, I'm talking about in a few years, we are going to see measures that include natural resources and environmental factors to use as, for example, the non-tariff barriers. For example, if you plan to export your products to, let's say, EU has already announced that by, I think, 2050, EU will become a carbon neutral zone. EU has introduced the EU Green Deal, so that every country in EU will be very alert about all the carbon dioxide offset and everything. So in the future, our exporters might be facing with problems like, have you used renewable energy in your factory? Do you have any carbon credits in your factory? What kind of mitigation measures you are implementing in your factory? These kind of barriers will become very, very soon will be in effect, and Thailand will have to be ready for it, be it the agricultural sector, the industrial sector. Everyone has to be ready for what's coming in the very, very near future.
No, over the past 1 year, we have seen a very impressive recovery of natural habitat, thanks, of course, to COVID-19, but no thanks.
Thanks, but no thanks,
but,
yes.
But no thanks. So, but it looks like we're going to reopen the country again to tourists.
Yes.
Expecting millions of tourists coming back in the next few
Yes.
years. Then, so how do you plan to handle
Well-
another influx of tourists?
Since the beginning of COVID-19, about a year and a half ago, this time last year we had to shut down our national parks, all 155 of them. So until now, we have laid and implemented new measures. For example, we do the carrying capacity. We limit the number of people in various places in our national parks so that we make sure that it will not be crowded, it will not be over-visited, and in the long run, we will be able to sustainably manage the wealth of our national parks. When I say the wealth of our national parks, I'm not talking about monetary, I'm talking about the richness of our resources, the quality of life of the habitats, animals, plants, and everything. So to maintain its fullness, because when human stops, nature shall continue its own course. We have to adapt to nature.